Level 0, absolute poverty. This is where everything begins. Not with $0 in a bank account, but with no bank account at all. People living in absolute poverty survive on less than $1.90 a day. Not by choice, but because of where they were born. A slum in Nairobi. A rural village in Bangladesh. A war-torn zone in Yemen. Their day doesn't start with coffee. It starts with a search for water. Not clean water, just water. Then comes the search for food. Usually there's no fridge, no electricity, no internet, no safety net. Children walk miles to fetch water, or skip school to help the family survive. Education is a luxury. So is medicine. A minor injury can be deadly. A mosquito bite could mean malaria. A cough could mean tuberculosis. And there's no doctor coming. There's no rent to pay. Because many live in homes made of scrap. Metal sheets, plastic tarps, mud walls. No plumbing. No heating. No sense of privacy. And yet, somehow they keep going. They build community. They share what little they have. They dream. They love. They hope. But the stress never ends. Because at this level you don't think about next year. You think about the next meal. Time itself feels different. Long-term goals don't exist. This is the bottom of the economic ladder. It's not laziness. It's not lack of intelligence. It's lack of access. To clean water. To education. To a chance. Almost 700 million people live here. That's nearly 1 in 10 humans. And the hardest part? When you're born into level 0. It's nearly impossible to climb out. But not because people lack potential. They lack opportunity. And without that, money becomes more than just currency. It becomes survival itself. Level 1, basic survival. At this level, you're no longer in the absolute worst conditions, but you're not far from them either. You're earning about $2 to $10 a day. That might not sound like much. And it isn't. But it's just enough to stay alive. You can buy some food, maybe rice, bread, or whatever's cheapest locally. You might have access to clean water. And if you're lucky, a basic roof over your head. A shared space. A small shack. Or maybe just a corner of someone else's home. There's no such thing as luxury here. No fridge, no phone, no savings. The clothes you wear are hand-me-downs. The shoes, if you have them, are worn thin. Healthcare. That's a dream. One illness and everything crumbles. But here's the paradox. You're not homeless. You're not starving. But you're still not safe. Every day is a balancing act. A quiet battle between hunger and shelter. Between working today and surviving tomorrow. And work? It's never stable. It might be informal labor, street vending, or any small job that pays just enough to scrape by. No benefits. No contract. Just the hope that someone will need you again tomorrow. Time feels different here. You're not thinking weeks ahead. You're thinking, what can I eat today? How do I get through the night? Stress is constant. Not loud or dramatic, but quiet and crushing. Because you know that one bad break, an injury, a broken roof, a missed job, could send you straight back to 0. And yet, many people here don't see themselves as poor. Why? Because compared to level 0, absolute poverty, this already feels like progress. You're not dying. You're surviving. You can breathe. But survival is all it is. At level 1, wealth means food security for the week, a safe place to sleep, and maybe, just maybe, a better day tomorrow. This level is the thin line between existence and collapse, where even the smallest form of stability feels like a victory. Level 2, working poor. Let's talk about level 2, the working poor. This is where you have a job. You wake up early, you put in the hours, you do what society asked of you. And yet, you're barely surviving. You might earn somewhere between $10 to $30 a day. That's about $300 to $900 a month. Enough to stay off the streets, but not enough to build anything beyond the next few days. You likely rent a small room or live with others. You might have electricity. Maybe a second-hand phone. You probably take the bus. Or walk. You eat every day. But it's the cheapest food you can find. Fresh produce is a luxury. Healthcare. You wait until things are really bad. You work hard. Maybe multiple jobs. But there's no safety net. No paid leave. No retirement plan. And no time to breathe. You live paycheck to paycheck. If you get sick, you lose work. If you lose work, you might lose everything. Debt often becomes a silent companion. A small loan here. A credit payment there. And slowly your income gets eaten before it even arrives. But here's what's most exhausting. You're doing everything right and still falling behind. Society tells you to just work harder. But working harder doesn't mean moving up. It just means staying afloat. Emotionally, it takes a toll. You're constantly stressed. You feel stuck. You feel invisible. And yet, despite everything, you keep going. You show up. You adapt. You make impossible choices every day. This is the quiet resilience of the working poor. People who keep entire economies running, while struggling to hold their own lives together. This level isn't about laziness. It's about systems. Wages that don't match living costs. Jobs without benefits. And a world where surviving often costs more than thriving. Level 2 is not the bottom. But it's the trap. Because you're working, just not getting anywhere. And unless something changes, it can last a lifetime. Level 3, lower middle class. This is the level where things start to feel normal, but just barely. You likely have a job. Maybe full-time. Maybe 2 part-time ones. You earn somewhere between $30 and $100 a day, enough to cover rent, groceries, and maybe even a used car. Your life is structured. You have a routine. You probably own a smartphone. You might even have internet at home. Compared to the billions below you, you're doing okay. But compared to those above you, you're barely keeping up. Here, money isn't about survival, it's about stability. But it's a fragile kind of stability. One unexpected medical bill, one broken down car, one missed paycheck, and everything can fall apart. You're not poor by definition. But you're not safe either. You live in the tension between hope and anxiety. You can dream but not too big. You can save but not too often. You can rest, but only on weekends, and even then you're thinking about bills. You might be paying off student loans, or helping your parents, or supporting kids of your own. That means your income doesn't just support you, it supports a small ecosystem. You're starting to engage with the system, banks, taxes, credit scores. But you're also vulnerable to it. A bad credit decision can haunt you for years. A small mistake can turn into a debt spiral. At this level, status symbols begin to matter. People stretch budgets to look like they're doing better than they are. The pressure to appear middle class leads to overworking, undersaving, and quiet stress. And yet, this level is full of silent ambition. People at this stage are often the hardest workers. They show up early, stay late, and believe in something better. They chase promotions, side gigs, degrees. They're trying to move up, or at least not fall down. Level 3 is the tipping point. You're out of pure survival. But you're not yet free. You're surviving and reaching. Level 4, middle class. Here life starts to look stable, respectable, comfortable even. You likely have a full-time job, maybe in an office, in education, healthcare, or skilled trades. Your income covers the essentials: rent or a mortgage, groceries, a car payment, insurance, internet, and even a few streaming subscriptions. You can afford to go out once in a while, buy a birthday gift, maybe even take a short vacation once a year. There's a sense of dignity here. You're no longer living paycheck to paycheck, at least not always. There's some room to breathe. But there's also a trap. Because at this level, wealth becomes invisible. You have a steady income, yes, but you're still trading time for money. Your bills scale with your earnings. Your lifestyle inflates. More money means a better car, a bigger house, a newer phone, not more freedom. And so you work. You grind. You show up every day on time, do your best, and hope your savings account grows faster than your anxiety. You might have health insurance, but one emergency could still hurt. You might have a retirement account, but it's not enough to retire anytime soon. You might own your home, but you're also owned by the 30-year mortgage attached to it. You're not poor, but you're not rich. You're in the middle, and staying here requires constant effort. And that's the paradox of level 4. You're successful by society's standards, but still far from financial freedom. You appear stable, while quietly carrying debt. You feel proud, and still worried. At level 4 you don't want to go back, but going forward? That takes more than hard work. It takes strategy, discipline, and often a shift in mindset, from earning more to owning more. Because in the middle class you can live a good life. But if you want to stop working for money, you'll need to learn how to make it work for you. Level 5, upper middle class. Welcome to level 5, the upper middle class. This is the level where money starts to feel different. You're no longer just surviving. You're not just comfortable either. You're beginning to experience something rare: financial freedom with control. At this stage, income typically ranges from $500 to $1,500 a day. That's roughly $180,000 to $500,000 a year. You're probably a high-earning professional, business owner, or someone with multiple income streams. Your lifestyle reflects it. You live in a good neighborhood. You drive a reliable, possibly even luxury car, not to show off but because you can. You travel often not just for escape but for experience. You might own a second home or at least dream of one, and that dream feels within reach. More importantly, you've begun to buy back your time. You outsource tasks. You hire help. You pay for convenience. You no longer cook every meal, clean every room, or fix every leak. You use your money to reclaim your mental space. At this level, you're not just earning. You're also investing in retirement accounts, real estate, stocks, and sometimes startups. You're thinking about generational wealth, not just monthly bills. But it's not all smooth sailing. This level is where the paradox begins. You have enough to be free but not enough to stop working entirely. You're comfortable but still climbing. You're rich, to most people, but compared to the ultra-wealthy you're still a worker. You might feel stuck in a strange middle ground, successful but not satisfied. Your problems change. They become more about time, stress, purpose, not survival. Burnout is common. So is lifestyle inflation. The more you earn, the more you spend, and the more you feel the pressure to maintain it all. Still, level 5 is powerful. It's a launch pad. You have the tools to build lasting wealth, to buy your freedom, and to reshape your future. Because here, for the first time, you realize, money doesn't just give you options. It gives you time. And time is the most expensive thing in the world. Level 6, the 1%. At level 6, you enter a different world. This is the top 1%. Roughly speaking, this means you're earning over $500,000 a year, though the threshold varies by country. But it's not just the income. It's what that income allows you to do, and stop doing. At lower levels, you trade your time for money. Here, you begin to buy your time back. You hire people to clean your house, manage your schedule, invest your money. You stop waiting in lines. You start paying for convenience. Vacations are no longer rare or planned months in advance. They're spontaneous and often international. First class. Sometimes private. Your children go to top-tier schools. You have lawyers, advisors, and connections that can open doors most people don't even know exist. You're not rich enough to change the world. But you're rich enough to change your life and influence the lives of those around you. You invest instead of save. Your money works harder than you do. You start companies, fund startups, or buy real estate, not homes, portfolios. But here's the paradox. From the outside you look free. From the inside many still feel trapped. Because now you have more to lose. More responsibilities, more pressure, and often more isolation. Friends change. People treat you differently. And trust becomes more valuable than wealth. Still, you've reached a point where you can design your lifestyle. You can say no. You can choose what to do, who to work with, and when to stop. For many, this level is the ultimate goal. Not billionaire status. Just enough to escape survival and begin living deliberately. But here's the question. Once you have the money, what do you really want? Level 7, multi-millionaire. At level 7, you're no longer just wealthy. You're strategic. This is the realm of the multi-millionaire. Someone with a net worth between $10 million and $100 million. And the game has changed completely. You don't work for money anymore. You direct it. You design systems that generate wealth without needing your presence. Companies, stocks, real estate, royalties, your money is moving while you sleep. You likely own businesses or at least significant shares in them. You don't just make investments, you get invited to the table before the deals go public. Early stage funding rounds. Private equity. Exclusive real estate developments. These doors only open at this level. Your time is heavily protected. You don't answer emails, someone does that for you. Your calendar is optimized. You don't buy things. You buy leverage, people, tools, infrastructure. That buys you more time, more focus, more power. You live differently. First class isn't special anymore, it's the default. Your kids don't just go to school, they attend institutions designed to shape future leaders. You may own multiple homes. Private chef. Personal security. Custom everything. But more important than lifestyle is influence. At this level you can shape outcomes. You fund campaigns, support movements, or build institutions. You're not just living in the economy, you're influencing what it becomes. But here's the paradox. The more you have, the less visible you become. Truly wealthy people at this level often disappear from public view. Not because they're hiding, but because privacy becomes power. At level 7, silence is strategic. You don't show wealth, you own it. And while many dream of getting here, few realize, this level isn't about luxury. It's about control. Control over your time, your environment, your future, and sometimes, other people's futures too. Level 7 is where wealth becomes architecture. You're not climbing the ladder anymore. You're building the ladder, for others to climb or for you to rise even higher. Level 8, the billionaire. At this point, money is no longer about survival, comfort, or even luxury. It's about scale, power, influence. Billionaires don't just live in the economy, they shape it. With a net worth of $1 billion or more, you're not just buying expensive things. You're buying systems, entire companies, sometimes even industries. At this level, wealth isn't stored in cash. It lives in equity, assets, and ownership. You own tech platforms, global brands, energy grids, data. You're not shopping. You're investing in the structure of the world. Your money moves markets. Your tweets shift stock prices. A meeting with you is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for most people. You sit across from presidents, prime ministers, and CEOs, not because you asked, but because they did. You don't wait in line. Lines wait for you. Time becomes your most valuable asset. You pay people to protect it, to multiply it. You don't work for money anymore. Money works for you. Philanthropy becomes strategy. A donation isn't just charity, it's narrative control, legacy crafting. You can fund universities, shape political movements, even influence how future generations think. But there's a paradox here. The more you have, the less things impress you. You don't dream about cars or houses anymore. You start thinking in centuries, not paychecks. In planetary problems, not daily expenses. And yet, you still face fear. Not of losing everything, but of becoming irrelevant. Because once you own the world, the only thing left to chase is meaning. Bonus level, post-wealth. There's a level of wealth beyond money. Not more of it, but past it. When you have everything, every house, every car, every experience, money stops being the goal. Because it no longer buys anything you don't already have. This is post-wealth. At this stage, money becomes invisible. It's not something you think about. It's something the world moves around you with. You no longer ask, what can I afford? You ask, what legacy will I leave? Some pursue immortality through biotech, space travel, digital consciousness. Others chase ideology, shaping the world through politics, media, or religion. Some just want their name remembered. Buildings, universities, foundations, statues. At post-wealth, the currency shifts from money to impact. And yet, strangely, meaning becomes harder to find. Because when nothing is out of reach, desire itself begins to fade. You don't wait in lines. You don't hear no. You don't chase approval. The friction that gives life texture disappears. Time becomes the only thing you can't control. So the game changes again. Now it's about influence, legacy, philosophy, control over narratives, and eventually, peace. Some at this level vanish from public life. They buy silence, solitude, and distance. They chase inner freedom instead of external power. Because they realize something. The higher you climb the wealth ladder, the more it begins to resemble the one you started on, but with better furniture and quieter suffering. In the end, post-wealth is not a level of income, it's a level of awareness, a reckoning with the limits of money, and a return to the question, now that I have everything, who am I?